can't just hook them up to a regular bomb rack on an F-15. So it takes a number of weeks or months to reconfigure an F-15 airplane and others to carry the kinds of bunker busters that we sold to Israel 2 years ago. And they don't buy things, and I said this on your show, the Israelis don't buy things, unless they're going to use them, and that is not a defensive weapon.
And they've still got them then, right?
They're mounted. They're ready to go. They're going to be used. I said that 2 years ago. Actually, about a year and a half ago. They're going to be used.
Sooner than later now?
Yes, of course.
Now, what is the reaction from Iran once that happens?
I don't know, because I'm watching something. I honestly don't know. I have not remote viewed it, but I am watching something else, a reaction that's planned, and that's on the part of North Korea. Because once we engage, and anybody can see, go to the regular news sources and the alternative news sources, they can see that the Israelis just passed at least 2 ships of their own ships through the Suez today. They've already got Israeli submarines parked there as well as the U.S. submarines. So everything's ready to go. And we'd like to interfere in Syria right away, but of course there's bigger fish to fry. And the Iranians, I have my ideas, but they're not about the U.S. dollar as a reserve currency being threatened, as it was by Muammar Gaddafi, and as an excuse for going in and ameliorating conditions and from our perspective in that country. But what I'm watching is China and North Korea. Because once we engage, and we're going to engage in this war in Iran, of course, our commander-in-chief will probably not call the war, and therefore be justified in pushing the button. The Chinese will play the North Korean card. That's what I'm seeing.
And will they play the Taiwanese card as well?
Yes. That's their long-term plan. They're brilliant. Totally brilliant. Long-term plan. I mean, the Chinese have 50-year plans, not 5-year or 1 year like we do. They're in for the duration. So they'll play the North Korea card, in other words, coax them to start a confrontation on the Korean Peninsula. And yes, we have things in place that could handle that for perhaps 2 weeks. And then after that, we are very, very out of luck. We don't have enough logistics. We don't have enough weaponry, much less money to support another war over there. In the past we did, but not anymore. And then that brand spanking new aircraft carrier that the Chinese have, the People's Republic of China, watch it be parked right off of the coast of Taiwan. And you know what?
You're right.
All of this is probably already in the plans of both the top levels of the U.S. and China and the bankers.
Now, when you look at this, do you look at this strictly as a remote viewer, or does the military part of Ed Dames come out?
I have to do it as a remote viewer. The military part, I could say all kinds of things, but most of those are wrong. That's why I love my work, because once you allow unconscious and the matrix, that's what we call the global mind, to address the question, you get the right answer. For instance, the choices that we make are the lower mind. The unconscious is our complement, but the lower mind is the egoic mind, and that's the one that makes all these choices. We've all engaged in the right career, the perfect wives, the perfect automobiles, all that, right? No. Not, as they say in the vernacular. But unconscious knows. It can see ahead because mind is outside of time, and it sees the consequences of any decisions you make here in the material, physical world ahead. And it can tell you, don't do it or do it. And so that's what I use. So
you see Israel attacking Iran. Do you see the United States physically involved in that? Not at first,
but a few hours later.
Yeah.
No. Yes. We're already physically involved. We're already physically involved. The press, you'll never know this as an average American.
Well, and I've noticed President Obama is talking a little tougher about Iran these days. Almost like he's trying to prepare us for something.
No, anything I would say at this juncture would be personal in nature, and I don't want to do that.
I understand. But you do see this coming sooner than later?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Mm-hmm. And then immediately the Chinese reaction through North
not
Korea?
Immediately.
Okay.
They'll wait until we're fully ensconced and tied up logistically, and we're pressing all. Don't forget that we're buying some of our ammo from the Chinese.
Jeez.
There we are.
Yeah.
Both civilian and military.
Can we handle another war front?
No, of course not. That's exactly what the Chinese are just waiting, biding their time, and we'll play that card for exactly that reason. There was a time when the U.S. could fight 2.5 wars, 2.5 battles.
A former Israeli Mossad agent said this week that an Israeli attack on Iran would be lunacy, and that he sees Tel Aviv in flames if that happens.
No, Tel Aviv I don't think will be in flames, but I sure agree with him on the aforementioned.
All right.
Because the world's going mad. I mean, this is a madhouse.